So, today we're going to be doing the very first couple of sets of games for the Xtreme Meme League that we have going on in Discord for the Xtreme Meme team and the Xtreme Meme Ducks. We got some wonderful inter-clan matches here for our little bracket that we have started. So today we're going to be starting off with Samurai versus Decimus. Alright, so looking at the armies right off the bat here, should be a pretty entertaining matchup. Alright, so getting started, we're going to be having Grimgore Ironhide on foot with a Nightgobbo Shaman, and then the massive-ass Rogue Idol. That's super exciting. I actually have not seen one of these guys in action since I came back to playing, so I'm pretty stoked. We're going to have a whole front line of our wonderful Savage Orc Biggins intermixed with the Goblins. Back is going to have Orc Error Boys, and in the rear some Biggins supporting the Rusty Errors. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Out on the flank, some Forest Goblin Spider Riders. And then for Norska over here, we're going to have Wulfric the Wanderer on his Mammoth, supporting a Fimir Balefiend of Fire. In the back, the Maws of Savagery with a bunch of extra Skin Wolves. And then up front, some Marauders supported by Berserkers for the infantry engagement. Vanguarded, we have 3 units of Marauder Horsemen. Let's get rolling here. Alright. So, right off the bat, we're going to see the Marauder Horsemen pushing around the right flank, trying to get a good flank shot vantage here on some of these infantry. Maybe try and pull the Error Boys out of position. But Greenskin's getting a very opportunistic attack here. Forest Goblin Spider Riders coming out of the woods because they were hidden. And they are going to get a solid charge into this cavalry. Savage Orc Biggins going to try and rush in there to support. We just got this giant ass blob going on right now. Pretty fantastic. And Wulfric bringing in... Oh, nice. It's a super nice placement. And then the counter spell of the Burning Head going down on the back lines for the Savage Orcs. So this is turning into a whole gaggle of just absolute death, which is always what you want to see when you're watching Total War gameplay. So Norska going to be coming out a little bit on top here with the Forest Gobbos going and routing off the battlefield. But he did lose a reasonable amount of cavalry. So that really sucks, because he's not really going to have the best opportunity to do some skirmishing into the Rogue Idol from afar. Maybe put some hurt onto the Savage Orcs. And the Rusty Errors and the Error Boys are going to be firing in. But this horde of Skin Wolves is just going to go plowing in. Look at this madness. There's all the Skin Wolves just bowling in there. He brought some of his Orcs in, trying to support a little bit. But we got a little bit of a large rout going on over here from his Error Boys. Savage Orc Biggins finally starting to come in to support the engagement, but Wulfric is having none of it, and he is going to body block the whole fucking unit for the rest of these wolves to pull out and get their cycle charge. So in the back, all these horsemen are reunited, and they are going to be tearing up the back lines, trying to get some little rear charges into the Error Boys and do some rear skirmishing to hurt some of that morale. A wonderful Burning Head going down here too on the Rusty Errors. So right now it's looking pretty solid for Norska. They've managed to punch through all of these lines, get some of that infantry on the left flank of the Greenskins out of position, and now they're kind of enveloping. The Rogue Idol is sitting here trying to put some work on these Marauders and has successfully routed them out. So the front line is looking okay. The right flank has also broken apart for the Greenskins, and this full unit of Berserkers with all that Marauder support are going to be swinging in at some point here. And it's going to be really tough to take this down. Wulfric's taken a ton of damage from Grimgore in combat, but he is peeling out of there, and Grimgore is going to be getting body blocked by all of the Skin Wolves. But man, this is super cool. I love how cinematic it is. He's just bowling in here. He's not having any of it. And the belly flop right on the skin wolves. This is just absolute mayhem in here with Grimgor, and then Wulfric is just gonna go bowling back into the fray. Hell yeah. The Fimir manages to get a fireball off, trying to do some damage to Grimgor, and is taking out the Night Goblin Shaman. So yeah, Norska doing really well right now. A lot of the greenskin forces are routed and being chased off the battlefield pretty effectively here by the Marauder Horsemen. We also have these skin wolves cleaning up pockets of resistance. So these poor goblins and some of these savage orc big guns just going to be getting absolutely mulched. But yeah, some of the greenskin ranged units are coming back. So we do have the Orc Arrow Boys coming back in. The Night Goblin Shaman is running, but the Fimir is likely going to chase him off the battlefield. The Rusty Heirs firing into some of these Marauder Horsemen, but the Horsemen likely just going to charge and try and crash through that morale. Another Fireball ripping off, trying to do some damage. Wulfric has fled from the combat because, man, did he take a beating. But this massive horde of Skin Wolves is going to be going to support him, and they're going to go to take out the Orc Arrow Boys and try and just shatter out the rest of these units on this flank. Does have to be careful, though, because if he happened to lose Wulfric from a bad charge from Grimgor or maybe some of those stray shots, it could be bad for him. But even with that loss, he does still have the Fimir on the battlefield, and he has this massive horde of Skin Wolves with a lot of models left. A lot of models left. And they do regenerate that HP, so it's going to be tough for the Greenskins to pull something off there. But he does have to take out the Rogue Idol combo with Grimgor, so this could potentially be a tough nut to crack. We shall see. Yeah, the Rusty Heirs putting some work in, trying to take out some Marauder Berserkers. The Marauder Horsemen going for a second swing at them. So hopefully they can get the charge off this time without getting pushed off the battlefield. Definitely a very important unit to take out, because those guys would do some really, really good work supporting against the Wulfric Skin Wolf Blob, applying some of that armor debuff. So it looks like they're going to be gone, and we're pretty much just going to be coming down to the Rogue Idol and Grimgor here, while the rest of the forces are pushed off the battlefield. So again, in the flank here, Skin Wolves and Fimir just running down these units that are rallying, pushing them off. Give it a little bit of a fast forward here. Wulfric is going to be hanging out on the flank, pushing another unit. Going to force off some of those Orc Arrow Boys. And then a unit has been wiped out over there, so I believe that would be your Rusty Heirs. And I don't know. That Rogue Idol has a ton of health, and Grimgor is no slouch. So, we're going to be seeing a little bit of skirmishing coming in here to try and chip a little bit of damage off. But you look at the Rogue Idol, 150 armor. And then you have Grimgor here with 120. And still has 2,000 HP and 10,000 HP. So, definitely going to be putting the hurt on Wulfric if any of them catch him. So, we're really going to need some solid work from the Skin Wolves here to put the smackdown on this Rogue Idol. You can see some Berserkers running in to try and tie up Grimgor, and then you have a big charge coming in from the Maws of Savagery and the Skin Wolves. I love this game's cinematography. Like, it's just so great to watch. And the stray fireball coming in to try and do some damage there. That's so much fun. The Berserkers and all the Skin Wolves just trying to pile in on this fight. So one thing to look out for, though, that I'm gonna mention here when you're trying to do this is that these Skin Wolves are piling up on themselves, so they're not getting into base contact with the unit. So if you're gonna go for this, you kind of want to do like a surrounding maneuver with your units so that you can cycle them out at different angles and keep charging them in, and you're gonna get more damage done per charge and per unit in model contact. So just something to keep in mind when you're trying to pull this off. Because right now you have a lot of models over here that aren't able to do anything, but with his splash attacks, they're still going to be getting hurt. So yeah, it does a lot of like widespread damage. It's really nice. It must be the anti-infantry that it's got. But yeah, Wulfric's going to be pulling out of there because he don't want the smoke. But Grimgor is taking some damage. He's had another 500 HP chipped off of him. Rogue Idol has dropped 4,000 HP, which is a pretty big deal. Fireball coming in again to chip another couple hundred damage off. And Wulfric just trying to get back in here, but the charge being a little bit negated by trying to get through this blob. He does land a hit on Grimgor, though, who is looking spicy right now. It's not ideal. And he's starting to rout from another good blow from Wulfric, and he drops. And that'll be the death of the Hide. Man, fantastic game. It was super fun. Look at that, 131 kills on the Rogue Idol, doing some work. It was a little bit of a rough spot in the beginning for the Marauder Horseman, getting tied up by those Forest Gobos. But he was able to pull off a decent value trade there and take out the mobility, work some of that infantry with the Skin Wolf charges, and just kind of break up the formation for Maximus there. Hey, Papa Palpatine, thanks for the follow, bud. Should be getting you some of your games in after these. So we're going to be hitting game 2 now. We're going to have Maximus and Samurai going at it for Empire versus Beastman. What's up, Lumberjack? How you doing, dog? I woke up. I had some coffee. A little bit of eggs. And now I'm just posted up at my computer on a Friday morning. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? Thanks for the follow, Killer. How you doing? What's up, Taco? My homies. Lux. Thank you for the follow. Alright, so getting into this next match. Empire over here, gonna be rocking the ever wonderful Steam Tonk. We're gonna be having in the air Balthazar, the Cheese Melt, and in the front Warrior Priest mixed in with some Flagellants. Very aesthetic. Like it a lot. And over on the right side, the Empire Captain and the Flagellants. So we got a nice little triumvirate of the Empire here. In the back, we're going to have some Empire Knights ready to support the frontline engagements. And in the very rear, the White Wolves, Huntsmen, and the Silver Bullets. Oh, flipping. That's actually super cool. So I'm liking it. We got these wonderful, colorful, fucking bow-wielding Captain America-looking folks. And then over on the side, we've got ya boys and their magic pointy wood sticks. But, yeah. Sigmar's Sons bringing up the center. For the Beastmen, we got a nice wide build. We're going to be having a Goreherd shields up front, standard Goreherd in the middle with the Blackhorn Ravagers, a nice group of Centaurs with throwing axes to bring some AP value, a unit of Harpies, which are likely going to be chasing Balthazar for the entirety of this game if they don't get melted, and a nice far left contingent of mobility here with the Chaos Warhounds, Sons of Goros, and some Centaurs with great weapons and standard ones. So nice variety of mobility there, and a Bray Shaman or of Beasts in the back with the Manticore Summons and Doomflock. Let's get kicking here while Kazarak just goes charging in on foot because he's a fucking G. The wonderful Leroy Jenkins YOLO charge. Gets in there and just starts bowling dudes over. Alright, so yep, up in the air we're going to have the Harpies chasing after Kazarak. And they're going to fly directly overhead of the White Wolves. And that is not going to be looking good for them. So they're going to peel out right away. Not losing too many models yet. And now they're starting to peel out. Yep, hitting that half HP point. Alright, so up in the front, Sigmar's Sons getting absolutely smoked here by Kazarak and the Blackhorn Ravagers. The Manticore Summon going down in the back of the center line. But meanwhile, the Warrior Priest and some Flagellants cleaning up another unit of Goreherd. So we got kind of a little bit of a wash right now going on in the front line with alternating points of success here. But the Empire Knights are trying to get after the Centaurs who have charged in with the Sons of Goros to provide a bit of a sandwich here on another Empire Knight and Spearman unit. So this little side bit here is probably going to dictate the flow of this game. We got a Doomflock going down right now. And this is just final transmutation, trying to take out this massive blob of his mobility and infantry. Oh no, Balthazar, you poor fool. You poor fool. My god, the Manticore and the Harpies just absolutely wrecking Balthazar's face, but the Manticore does get chased off. Unfortunately, none of the ranged units are fast enough to try and get over there and save that. So it looks like the Empire Knights kind of lost out in that engagement from the sheer body count that the Beastman brought to that flank. And the Silver Bullets are going to get absolutely mulched here by the combination of the Bray Shaman and the Chaos Warhounds, but we do have a stray unit of Flagellants coming in with the glory charge to save the day, or at least attempt to. And the White Wolves are being completely overwhelmed right now by Centaurs with throwing axes and the Chaos Warhounds. So yeah, with that mobility tie up in that pocket, the Beastmen with the mobile unit advantage were able to just completely rip around the flanks and isolate those two units of skirmishers. And now we're coming down to our wonderful Steam Tonk and some Flagellants with our boy, the Warrior Priest, just hanging tight. With, I can't even tell how many Flagellants are left in there. There's so much death. 7 dudes. 3 dudes. They die so fast. Brave men of the Empire. But yeah, not looking good for the Empire at all right now. Their Empire captain has been taken out. Beastman just doing some work, cleaning up the fringe units right now. Gonna isolate that very rapidly damaged Flagellant unit. And then, yeah, Empire Captain's taken off on foot. He's had it. Steam Tonk here is going to hang out with the Sigmar Sons and the Flagellants and just start doing his thing. He's going to do the doot-doots of death and just start beating some Beastman cheeks. God, I love how it just, like, pulverizes them. It doesn't even, like... Never mind, I was going to say it doesn't even just throw them, but holy crap, yes it does. You poor fool. But yeah, it is going to be routing a few guys off, but they're rallying, and he's consolidating them, just kind of outside of range, let some of his forces do their work, let the Centaurs get in there and start tearing it apart. God, it would suck, though. Imagine just being one of these guys, and there's this steam tank, and, like, your orders are to go kill it, and you're like, but how? So you just kind of run up, and you start smacking it, hoping something happens. That's how I imagine that these die. It's not that they, like, lose HP or health or anything like that. Like, people are just chipping at it and, like, ripping cables and stuff like that off of it, and eventually it just, like, it just pops. It's like if someone comes up and they're just, like, beating up your fucking titanium-ass car, then nothing's happening. And then someone just, like, rips apart your fucking fuel lines, and everything just lights on fire and explodes. I pretty much see that happening. Yeah, Kazarek got worked. What's up, A-Move? But yeah, a very decisive victory there for the Beastmen, able to sweep through and just completely envelop those forces. So game 3 here is going to be Maximus and Samurai bring in the Dawi Lizardman matchup. So this is fantastic. I'm already loving this. And, oh man, some nice diversity on the Lizardman side. Okay, so right off the bat, we're going to be seeing a little opening engagement here of Skink Skirmishers and the Miners with blasting charges, but he is right away pulling back. So, unit-wise, we're going to have Grom Grindel, and we're going to have our boy Felix and Gotrek. So this is the nice triumvirate of ya boys, and it's awesome. And I already want the Dwarves to win this matchup just because of that. I apologize, my dearest little Lizardmen, but you're not as cool as they are. So yeah, the Miners up in the front. Right flank is going to have some Rangers. We're going to have a couple Longbeards in the back lines just to provide some late game stalwartness. And then some more Rangers on the sides. So Grumbling Guard to support our triumvirate of awesome. And then some Iron Drakes in the back with Gyrocopters. Yes, Flying Taco, I have seen Nakai, but Nakai is not as cool. So even if he's worse, that doesn't make him as cool. It's just not, no. But yeah, the Skinks are up front here for the Lizardmen. Nakai, the casual mediocre in the back. And then we're going to have some red-crested Skinks bringing up the flanks with Croxigors and the cohort of Hotal. Sacred Croxies. some Saurus warriors, and then a nice little sneaky beaky contingent here with Skink Priest, Lore of Beasts, and some Cold One riders and Feral Cold Ones in the woods. Let's get this show on the road. Heresy. Nah, man. Nakai is cool, but like, he Naruto runs, and he can't even back it up. He's not even good. Could you imagine that, though? He has, like, 0 melee attack, but his charge bonus is, like, 350, and he just Naruto runs through units. That'd be fucking incredible. I would love it so much. So, yeah. So, Miners with Blasting Charges getting absolutely swamped here. Looking good right now, but decent amount of damage going down from the Iron Drakes. They're trying to pick their targets on the Croxagors, but there's a hell of a lot of them. Gyrocopters trying to put some work into these blobs, and one of the ranger units has been swamped by Cold Ones from the flank, and they are just absolutely pressing the advantage, sweeping across the field. Some red-crested skinks getting into some longbeards on this flank. It has opened this up to attack. Unfortunately, no units are really in position right now to capitalize on that. So meanwhile, he's trying to get his Feral Cold Ones into the Iron Drakes. If these guys aren't on guard mode, they are going to be getting stuck into melee combat, and it looks like they're going to be, yeah, in melee combat. So a nice pickup there, getting those troll hammers out of the engagement. But Rangers getting torn up in the back there. Fortunately for the Dawi, not enough like spread on the cavalry to be able to tie them up long term. Manticore summon going down there. And then we are going to have the wonderful, wonderful Nakai on 3,700 HP. Just kind of casually malingering, beating on some miners. He's going to go for the rear charge. Hell yeah. Fucking Naruto run, guy. Put those arms back like your life depends on it. And they're just going to chase down some of these skink skirmishers. All right. So Gyrocopter's doing a lot of good work on the Croxies, but they have rallied. Manticore is going to be chasing them down, so they are currently fleeing for their goddamn lives. Another unit of Gyros in the back, and the Iron Drigs have been taken out. So Croxagors ran through, did some solid work, and we have the Cold One Riders, so they're going to be just kind of blob chasing here and working some of these ranged units out of the fights. Manticore just going to continue to chase after the Gyro. I have mixed feelings about this because your Manticore isn't getting much of anything done aside from keeping them out of the fight. I feel like you could probably get a charge in and just go after the other one and then charge and go after another one. I don't know. I feel like there's some options you could do because he's going to already be running out of life here, and that Gyro has all of its ammo and is taking no damage. So mixed feelings on that one. But yeah, Rangers here getting a nice spread, taking down some of these Saurus. Backlines, skink skirmishers are able to escape from their pursuers and just kind of run amok in what used to be the center of the Dawi formation. Unfortunately for the Dawi here, they have become very spread out, kind of by necessity because the Lizardmen were able to just overwhelm their lines very quickly and from various different angles. But Rangers are going to be consolidating in the flanks. We do have the Gyros free to re-engage since that Manticore crumbled. And this little pocket here of Gromgrindel, Gotrek, and Felix just taking on some skinks. That's what you want to hear. Just angry dwarf screaming. Oh. Okay. Manticore's having none of it. He said, fuck you. You're not my real dad. He just comes in and smacks some of these guys to death. Gromgrindel, though, getting some work done on the Manti. Gotrek and Felix hanging out here, getting ready to re-engage. Gotrek just fucking waddling. Angry waddles. Anyways, back to the rest of the fight. So it's looking like the Rangers here are going to try and get some work done on these skink skirmishers. Gyro is going to be trying to come in and do a little bit of work. Maybe take these red-crested skinks out of the fight before they reach your Rangers. Yep, looks like what they're going to be doing. Some of these Rangers here just going to be putting some work on the Croxagors, sending in the Miners to try and tie them up so he can do his damage. But the Blessed Boy is going to be running in from the side flank with his Cold One Riders. And a ton of skink skirmisher fire coming onto the Gyrocopters, who are sponging it, but they're going to drop at some point here. And that's a real bummer for the Dawi player because he does have a decent amount of Kroxigors to chew through yet. Unfortunately, not going to be able to really put much work on them if this unit goes down. But the death blob that is a hit squad of Gromgrindel, Gotrek, and Felix is free from combat with a lot of HP left. So they are going to be just hounding Nakai. So we'll see what happens here. It looks like the Skink skirmishers are going to try and just get in close and either tie them up or start doing some skirmish damage. We shall see. But yeah, I don't know. The battle's very spread. Balance of power is perfectly even. We have the Skink priest trying to chase down the Rangers right now, and I honestly don't know if he would be able to win that. He has pretty shit stats. Granted, Rangers also have pretty shit stats, so it's a fight of the pincushion fucking squish bags here. He just got smacked in the ass, so he does not want to have any of that negative energy of just getting bullied right now by a bunch of little fat people. So he is going to be trying to put his work in, and then the actual combat units are going to come in, the Cold One Riders, and just absolutely crush these Rangers. Just do tons of work on them. We're going to have more gyros that are out of ammo, just chasing down some of these skinks, trying to get some damage done on them, which is pretty decent. I mean, they shouldn't take too much in return, and they will tie up what's left of some of that ammo. The other gyros have returned, so I mean, dude, right now, I would take that. I'd just sit over Nakai. Just start shooting the shit out of this dude, try and put some damage in on him. I mean, if you're able to take some of that leadership out, you might be able to do some work on these skinks and maybe route them out. But, he seems, yeah, he is going after this blob of skink skirmishers, which is not a bad target. Standard gyro shots will do some good work. They'll pretty much wreck anything they touch in this, like, just mass. But he is going to be switching targets to Nakai. We're going to be having a little bit more of a blob going down here with the Goon Squad, working out some of these Kroxigors and some red-crested skinks. So it looks like it's kind of tipping in the Dawi favor right now. I'm actually kind of surprised. These Lords, though, have held up for so freaking long. And anything they touch ends up just dead. So the Skink letting off the Amber Spear, not doing too much, but getting a little bit of chip damage in here on this Longbeard unit. And might have hit one of the HQs. Cold One Riders and the fucking cohort of Hot Hat are hanging out on the flank. Nakai over here just fucking trying to beat up Longbeards. Just being absolutely fuck-ass mad. Goddamn Killer Croc. His attack animation is pretty damn nice. Because it just, like, gives him this nice-ass charge. So that's nifty. And he's doing good work here on the Dawi infantry. It's racked up 107 kills. I mean, what do we got? Basically the equivalent of what all three of those Lords have picked up on Lizardman infantry. So not bad. Nakai holding his own here, doing some work. Ranger's going to be picking it up in the back line. Another Amber Spear going off. Didn't really look like it hit much of anything. Maybe it's probably because of the terrain here. He's on like an uphill and they're on a down. So it looks like it just kind of like glanced over the heads and maybe nicked a model or two. It's the problem with those kind of spells. They're super gimmicky sometimes on what you're trying to hit. So man, we got this whole ass gaggle. And Lord Chungus himself just swinging on in here. Yeah, not seeing a lot of dwarves left in this combat. Oh man. They're just getting absolutely mulched. There's just blood and flesh flying out of the pile. The flesh pile. Oh, Amber Spear going off again. Might have actually ended up hitting his own units on that one. Nakai is just kind of hanging out. And he waddled away, waddle, waddle, waddle. And he waddled away, waddle, waddle, waddle. To the very next day. Ba, 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 da. God damn it. I hate what I choose to be. Alright, so Dawi just kind of hanging out in here with their three Lords, trying to tank this fucking madness. You can't even see them. They're just in this mess. Gromgrindel and Felix fighting fucking back to back here. Gotrek just hanging out on the flanks, coming back into the pile, going after some of these wonderful sacred boys. Doing some solid spread damage though, taking out like 5 models at once on that attack. So he's definitely doing some work and mulching the Cold One Riders. But you now have the Skinks who are ready to, in turn, start cycling in. Some more skirmish fire going off, trying to take down Gotrek, I'd assume, because he has no fucking armor. He's taking hits. Samurai, you are in on the 3rd replay of your matchup. So, I mean, you didn't really miss much. You missed yourself. We are on your Dawi Lizardman matchup with Decimus. But yeah, it's looking pretty good for the dwarves right now. A little rear charge going to be coming in from the gyros that's going to start routing out the Skinks, which is a huge deal. Some more cycle charge coming in from the Sacred Croxy boys. A little bit more cavalry, but the flash bomb going off here going to be doing a lot of debuffing the melee defense, charge speed. So a lot of these guys trying to cycle in and out are going to be kind of stuck in this combat. And meanwhile, they're just going to be getting worked on right now from all of the midgets that you can't see. You can see the Frohawk here, just of that fuck-ass mad angry little dwarf. I let Nakai down. Dog, this is a replay. If I was cheering for Nakai in live action, this game would have been entirely different. Oh, man, we got some dwarves running in the backgrounds, just corpses everywhere. This skink is like, yeah, get him, and then he runs away. But, yeah, the Goon Squad 100% held their own. That was fantastic. So, yeah. Fucking Gromgrindel doing some solid work there. Gotrip picking up some kills. Felix being a basic bitch. But, he held his own. So, nice games. Pretty fucking fantastic. So, Dawi do come away with the win. Man. Hell of a ride. Maximus picks up the dubs. And Samurai just, being all salty because Nakai sucks. But, alright. So we're going to be switching over here. We're going to have Killerinu versus Papa Palpatine. And we're going to hop into their game 1. Alright, so we're going to be starting off with some splendid Wood Elves v Lizards. Oh, don't mind me, just getting a nice stretch. Oh, yeah. Rolled out of bed at like 9:30. I'm like, dude, you gotta wake up, man. You got things to do. But right off the bat here, we're going to start off with the Wood Boys. So a couple Eternal Guard up front with Wildwood Rangers on the flanks for some nice AP. Blade Guard with Starfire Shafts going to be supporting with some fire damage and AP as well. And in the very rear, another Wildwood Ranger just to cover that flank. And Wild Riders in the back to run a little bit of interference in case of backline shenanigans. Durthu bringing up the center with a Branch Wraith. We're going to be rocking some Manti Summons and Doomflock. And then we're also going to have some regen. Over for the Lizardmen, we are going to be seeing the Croxy Ancient and Skink Priest Beasts with Doomflock and the Manti Summons. Up front, bunch of Skink Cohort, followed up by a Skink Cohort with Javelins. So a very skinky army. I like it. Very wide base. Some Chameleon Skinks up on their front right flank. Or, excuse me, their front left. Front right, another Chameleon with the Popak Cohort. God, probably butchered that. Don't even care. But they're going to be supporting some of these Chameleon Skinks out on the right side with Horned Ones bringing up the left. A couple units of Cold One Riders and Cold One Spears in the back line. So definitely going for an envelopment of the Wood Elves here. And we'll see how this plays out. Right off the bat, I am going to say that I think there's a bit of an edge going to the Lizardmen here because of how wide they are. The sheer amount of Skinks being thrown at units should do well if they're able to utilize their cavalry to pull around the flanks and get some really good charges into these Wildwood Rangers and the Glade Guard. He can wrap this up. The Wild Riders won't do super well. And I am going to say that the Wood Elves are having a good time with this initial engagement, though, because a lot of this cavalry is kind of out of position. So he's got the fucking... this conga line of Cav, the Ride of the Rohirrim, just charging into combat. Ride now! Death! Fucking great. But now we have all of the Wood Elf forces that are committed to combat. Eternal Guard going to be up front. Cold One Spear is going to be charging in to support some of their skinks, trying to do some work. But the Sword of Daith coming down here, and these Cold One Spear Riders are going to be having a really hard time sticking it out with the Eternal Guard and the Wilder Rangers. So out on this flank, though, we are seeing the Pakopok taken down by the double unit of Wild Riders, so that's a really nice pickup for the Wood Elves, and that leaves them free to start chasing down some of these Chameleon Skinks, or coming back to the main fight to provide some support to some of their infantry engagements. So Wilder Rangers doing a lot of work here against these Skinks, as you'd expect them to, but they are kind of a little bit of wasted potential in a matchup like this because they are AP and anti-large. However, the Skinks not doing too great against the Eternal Guard, and Durthu is just punching a hole straight up the middle. The Croxy Ancient took an ass ton of damage getting into combat with a fucking giant-ass tree dog and the Branch Wraith. Not peak conditions for him to be able to fight in. But a little bit of this contingent rallying back here to try and get back into the fray. And yeah, it's looking good for the Glade Guard right now. Wood Elves in a very nice spot, but these Chameleon Skinks are going to be coming in from the rear, so if they're able to get a little bit of skirmishing done or tie up these Rangers, that could help provide a little bit of relief for some of these scattered and tattered Lizardman forces. A lot of Skink cohort up front. They did get their ammunition off, which is fantastic, and they are going to be charging in to try and tie up these Wilder Rangers. Miasma of Despair going down for leadership and speed debuff. So that might help take them out here. Maybe the Horned Ones can take them out of the fight. It's very dangerous putting the Croxagore back in there. He's down to 926 HP, and if you lose him, that's going to be pretty much GG at this point. And he's really struggling. He's routing out, and the Skirmishers are trying to take him out, but I don't think they're going to make those final shots. We got another unit that rallied back there, going to be dumping some shots into the Chameleon Skinks. Eternal Guard doing a very good job of, you know, just doing what they do. High defense, just holding tight in the infantry engagements. But some Skinks in the woods taking out what's left of this Wildwood Ranger, which is a great pickup for the Lizardmen. So it's not looking horrible right now, but it's definitely not ideal. The biggest issue here is how you're taking Durthu down. He's got 7,200 HP and 110 armor. And the Lizardman forces have kind of run out of good AP. They have a good amount of Skinks left, so you could, in theory, pull off some like good cycling and possibly take out some of these scattered units. Skinks are pretty quick, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him if he pulls this out, because the Glade Guard are still pretty far out of combat, and they're just going to be peppering right now. They're through trying to chase these Chameleon Skinks, but it looks like he's kind of just going to possibly give up and just hang tight. I don't know if it's necessarily worth unboxing here, because this is what the Lizardman needs right now, is for a lot of these units to get isolated so he can start skirmishing some of them out, pick a few apart. These Cold Ones might be able to get into those Glade Guard. We will see. It looks like he's more worried about getting these Wild Riders out, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the Glade Guard are going to get pulled even further out of position, and if he's able to wrap a Chameleon around, he can pinch that really quickly. So other Glade Guard unit not looking hot here. The 2E models of Cold Ones. Yes. Yes, they will cycle charge Durthu to death. But yeah, I don't know. It's not looking bad for the Lizardmen right now. Fortunately for them, I think that the Wood Elf player might have gotten a little overzealous on seeing so much of the Lizardman army peeling out, but you got to remember that their army is very wide, and the Wood Elf player doesn't have the forces to chase all of this down at once. So what you're seeing is a lot of scattered units coming back, and they're probably going to be able to, if he can get large enough groups of them to come back, might be able to like pick off these individual units. And then it comes down to basically Durthu and the Branch Wraith. But Balance of power, a big tip right now as a couple of units shatter, and the Lizardman Lord is fucking dead. So, yeah, as I say that, balance of power completely tipping. And it's looking like the Wood Elves are going to pull this off. The Manti Summon definitely helping contribute to this big balance shift. So if he's able to take out this Skink Priest, it's probably going to go down to army losses. And I would put money that this Manticore will take out the Skink Priest. Holy shit, look at that. One hit. Because yeah, if he goes down, there's just no way they're taking Durthu out. Yeah, and that looks like army losses. GG, boys. GG. Alright, so game 2. Illyrianu and Papa Palpatine, High Elves versus Chaos. So right now, I'm seeing 2 Exalted Heroes. If they aren't on Manticores, I don't even think I can accept this as a Chaos build. I'm not gonna lie. Need you to appeal to my greater good of Manticore bullshit. And it's not happening right now. So like, I just need you to be cool. Okay? Need you to be cool. Although I can't appreciate that this little goon squad is fucking aesthetic. It's pretty damn awesome. Mirror Guard, our 2 fiery boys, and then we have Sartharel. So I guess I can forgive you for this one game. So real quick, as the action's picking up here, we have the Illyrian Reavers harassing the Marauders. And for Chaos, we're going to have a Marauder front line with Mirror Guard and some Chaos Warriors with great weapons in rear. And we're going to have the Summoners of Rage double exalted on horses with Sartharel. These guys have no add-ons, so they are very cheap. And then some Marauder Horsemen, or Horse Masters, excuse me, out on the flank. A very wide Warhound with Poison out there and a Gorebeast Chariot. And then for the High Elves, we're going to have their 3 Illyrian Archers. We're going to have some Dragon Princes in the back. Very expensive little blob over here. 2 Nobles on horses and a Lariel the Radiant on horse as well. So you have the fucking hit squad over here for them. And some Rangers backing up Silverin Guard. Very fun. So yeah, let's get the ball rolling here. So that flank, those non-braced spears, the Silverin Guard, going to be getting rolled over by the Gorebeast. Marauders going to be running in, but Rangers should do decent work against them. Chaos Warriors with great weapons going to be bringing up the rear. A little bit of a push in here, trying to get after Sartharel and get in on some of these Chaos Warriors with great weapons. Rangers probably not going to do super hot there because of the sheer amount of armor. But this is a nice blob for Chaos to just start doing some work into. Mirror Guard going to do well against the Silverin, but Shield of Thorns does go down to try and keep them sustained. Sartharel and Exalted Heroes just working these Rangers. Man, all that damage coming through with Shield of Thorns. So some great chariot play from the Gorebeast here, coming through, pulling away those Silverin, and then just bowling right back through the combat. This wide flank, though, the Illyrian Reavers trying to take out these Chaos Warhounds, get them out of the fight so he doesn't have to deal with that skirmishers. And this is a very interesting blob fight we got going on over here with these Summoners and the Chaos Warriors with great weapons trying to tie up some of these Dragon Princes. But these Nobles going to be right at home here in this combat versus them. Final Transmutation going down, though, and an excellent pickup. And the counter with Alariel. So she's going to be dropping that Star of Avalorn, trying to keep their damage negated, basically, from that Final Transmutation. But these guys are a bit overextended and overwhelmed. We have the Dragon Princes caught by the Exalted Heroes and Sartharel, and the Gorebeast Chariot's going to be going in to body block this unit. So it looks like the Nobles are going to continue to sustain here because of the Star, which, holy fucking shit, that Star heals so much. But the Chaos Warriors and Summoners of Rage just doing some solid work on these boys. Alariel managing to get out of that Chaos Marauder unit, but another unit of the Poison Warhounds that was in the woods coming out to play with the Illyrian Reavers, excuse me. So right now, looking good for Chaos. They are winning a lot of the infantry engagements. These great weapons holding well against the Rangers while the Marauders do some work. Silverin Guard not doing too hot against the Mirror Guard, as you would expect. And unfortunately, the Summoners Bound Spell just not doing too hot, getting out of the way. Might double back into the Chaos Marauders. No? Oh. Uh-oh. It did double back and do a little bit to the Warriors of Great Weapons, but fortunately not too much. So yeah, not looking too ideal. The Nobles have been completely broken off, and the Horsemasters are going to be chasing them out of the fight. Poison Warhounds continuing to harass the Illyrian Reaver Archers, which you really want to be able to take down some of these Summoners. Dragon Princes trying to move back and consolidate here and start going after some soft targets. But it looks like the Summoners are going to be able to get in here with the Gorby's Chariots and likely tie up some of these bodies. Yeah, the cavalry here is probably going to get tied up. One Dragon Prince looks like it's about to get routed out. The Exalted Heroes doing some good work chasing down some stray units, and the close defeat strikes as Ilario goes down from this blob. Alright, so game 2 done. And that was going to be Palpatine picking up the dub, so we are 1-1. I forgive you for your transgressions for representing Chaos well and winning against the High Elf scum. So yeah, here we go, going into game 3. We're looking at Warriors of Chaos versus Norska. Iron Mountain Pass. So we're going to be having the good old Forces of Chaos beat down the Self 5 bash of love from Khorne. Okay, so up in the wastes, we are going to be seeing Chaos here, represented by... Where's the Lord? There you are. The Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Fire on the Manticore. Hell yeah. Bringing some Fireball and Burning Head. He's going to have a Shaggoth on the ground to support. Front line is going to consist of some Marauders, so we're going to have a little bit of a Marauder mashup. A couple units of Horsemasters on the flank, supported by Chaos Warhounds. Standard ones, not poison, important to note. We are going to have some Chosen with Halberds on the right side, and then some Chaos Warriors bringing up the center, and the Mirror Guard in the rear. So for Norska over here, we're going to have a front line of, you guessed it, Marauders, supported by some Marauder Berserkers, and we're going to have the Beasts of Tashnar supporting some Marauder Horsemasters for Norska as well. Backline going to consist of a lot of Norscan Ice Trolls. 3 units with 2 units of Skin Wolves to provide some mobile punch. Wulfric on his Mammoth, supported by the Fimir Balefiend, Lore of Shadows, who is going to have the ever splendid freaking Pendulum, as well as Enfeebling Foe. And so, getting the show underway. So Chaos looks like they are going to be kind of shifting right, leaving a little bit of the Chaos Warhound trapped in the woods, and moving their Horsemasters back. So it looks like they're going to try and reshift their engagement lines further this way. Maybe put them to the woods. They're back to the woods. It's a very interesting pickle because ideally you get your Horsemasters around like the backside or the flanks to do some harrying, or you just keep them behind your lines. But it looks like you're not really going to be able to squeak too much by here unless you win this engagement. Because from there, you're able to get just nothing but rear shots. If you can take this pocket out and keep these Horsemasters alive, you're going to have some really, really good rear shots. You can do some peppering into Wulfric, which is going to be hella important with that 10,000 HP. So it looks like he is going to be trying to get some work done on the Beast of Tashnar, bringing his Chaos Warhounds and Poison ones here, Heyo, up to try and ward them off. Malkoth's going down in an attempt to slow them down and let the Beasts do their work, but not quite going to be happening. So as the skirmish battle goes on over here, the infantry engagement is beginning. Wulfric just pounds through this initial unit of Marauders as the Berserkers move in with the Norskins to try and just clean this up. That is going to be very bad for them. And meanwhile, you have the Ice Trolls pushing through to support their flanks against them. Chaos Marauders. This little burning head going down here. Oh no, it veers. It veers. Look at this veer. Heinous. Heinous. Oh man, and the Pendulum going down on the Chosen. So some really good spell play here from Norska going off. And unfortunately, Chaos, I'm guessing that was overcast by the sheer distance you got there with the fucking absolute veer of that spell. Really unfortunate. But yeah, right now, looking pretty good for Norska, cleaning up the front lines. Wulfric is going to be charging right into this rear blob of Mirror Guard. Actually, it looks like he might be trying to pull out a combat with the Shaggoth. But as this big-ass pocket of Skinwolves comes into support, he's going to be looking pretty good here. Wulfric could probably turn about, yep, and fight the Shaggoth with the support of these Skinwolves. Unfortunately for Norska, their caster is being completely isolated. So Chaos has won the skirmish engagement. Their hounds are chasing off the Horsemasters as well as the Beast of Tashanar, and that has left all three of their nearly untouched Horsemaster units free to fight. And he is able to take out the Fimir Balefiend, but the Skinwolves coming into support here, if Chaos isn't careful, they're going to be doing a lot of damage to the Horsemasters. So you can see he's trying to pull his cavalry out so the Skinwolves can't get too much work done. Chaos Sorcerer is likely going to be committed to either finishing this Balefiend or chasing him out. And yeah, we have some units, some Chaos Marauders out on the flank. The Halberds are in combat with the unit of Marauders and Ice Trolls. Unfortunately, the Marauders keeping them relatively tied up while the Ice Trolls try and fall back to do some cycle charging. Balance of power ever so slightly in the favor of Norska. These Ice Trolls are doing some really good work. There isn't really enough widespread anti-large to try and deal with them in the isolated pockets. So the Norscan Ice Trolls just kind of going about ping-ponging, really. Just ping-ponging across some units. The Chosen with Halberds going to try and get a lucky jump on the Ice Trolls here as they pulled out of combat. Some Warhounds rallying in the back, but Wulfric is just going to continue to bowl through some of these heavy infantry pockets that Chaos has remaining with their warriors and Mirror Guard. And the Skinwolves, not having any of it, are going to chase after these Horsemasters continuously. It's keeping 3 units occupied, which is fantastic, but he is going to be taking a lot of damage from the Skinwolves if he isn't careful, because they are able to skirmish and move, and they do have reasonable range with some pretty solid stats. So the Chaos Sorcerer comes in and causes them to be terrified. So that's a unit of Skinwolves that was isolated and removed from the battle, causing the balance of power to shift to practically dead even. So if he's able to force off these Skinwolves, that'd be a huge pickup for him. But right now, infantry fight going pretty handily in Norska's favor, except for this unit of Chosen. They're going to be a problem. The Chaos Warriors aren't going to do well. The Chaos Marauders aren't going to do well against Ice Trolls and Wulfric. But he does have the Chosen. So if it comes down to a situation of having to sit in the pocket, it's going to be tough. Because if he's able to keep those Chosen in the center, Wulfric is going to have to either charge in, the Ice Trolls are going to have to charge in to hit them, or they're just going to do some counter charging as he punches through the warriors. And there is a large amount of Chaos Warhounds, so if he's trying to cycle charge, the Warhounds can come in from the rear and try and box them in. But Warhound's getting a little caught out here, and the Ice Troll's going to get some cheeky side charge damage in, might even rout one of these units out. But now you're going to have all of the Horsemasters coming in to just focus their fire on Wulfric, which is going to be rough for him. Down to just about half HP, taking some decent damage from Chosen, taking a couple hundred HP from that fireball. So things are looking good for Chaos right now. Norska's in a little bit of a pickle where they can't really engage the infantry fight without taking a lot of damage from these Chosen, and they can't really engage the cavalry because they don't have the speed. So it's going to come down to a game of attrition here. The ammo's going to run out at some point, but it's doing a lot of work to Wulfric in the meantime. Holy crap, look at that. 500 HP just gone in seconds from the just scattered fire of these 3 units. Yeah, it's looking rough for Norska right now. They just don't have the tools to answer this, and Wulfric is getting absolutely worked by these Horsemasters. So Fight or Die comes in to try and keep him in the fight. He's desperately trying to Serpentine, and he's going to rock his charge right into the warriors to try and take them out. But, yeah, Wulfric is not long for this world. He has nothing left to be able to stop these Horsemasters from just chasing him down, which is exactly what they're going to do. Meanwhile, in the center blob, this clump of Norscan Ice Trolls is trying to get their work done on the Chosen with Halberds. And basically this massive death ball is the only way they're going to pull it off. So he is getting some really good damage in. They're down to 26 models, only 1500 HP, but Wulfric is not long for this world. at less than 700 and counting, he is going to be getting killed by the Horse Masters. There's no way he lets him escape. And that puts the Chaos Sorcerer Lord in a really good position. Leadership is about to tank, which Ice Trolls desperately need, especially when they're in combat against Halberd units or being peppered with Skirmisher Fire or Terror. So it's not over yet, but it's looking kind of dire. The Halberd's finally routing out, a unit of Ice Trolls routing as well, but they have 6 models left and they still have regens, so they'll most likely be able to consolidate. So Wulfric has gone down, chased down, and murdered. This poor fool, thinking he's hot shit, but he's not. He's not Archaon. He's not that cool. Yeah, I agree, Taco. Wulfric hiding behind the trolls would have been the move. He just would have had to take what's left of his units and form like a really wide shape for defense, like a wide circle, wide square, something to keep Wulfric within that keeps them out of range. And especially since auto fire was on, if his trolls could have just continued to sponge that fire, keeping Wulfric in the fight would have been more beneficial in the long run than keeping the trolls in the fight. Because Wulfric will beat the Chaos Sorcerer Lord on the Manticore in a 1-to-1 fight. And he'll do some really good work with whatever supporting units, like the Skin Wolves or whatever's left. He has a better chance of breaking the remainder of these Horse Masters. Unfortunately, easier said than done. There were Halberds remaining. The unit count for Chaos is simply higher, so there was a lot more mobile options between the Hounds and the Horse Masters. So in a perfect world, keeping Wulfric alive is what you want to do. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. So right now, some consolidated units of Trolls and Skin Wolves coming back to try and recover some balance of power, but it's just not going to happen. Bunch of units route off, and that is going to be Chaos victory. So Killerinu pulling off the dub here, bringing it back to 1-1. Some really, really good work with the Horse Masters. He prioritized his targets really well, which is just what you have to do. Horse Masters are a fantastic unit, and they picked up a bunch of chevrons here. Just doing really good work. The Chosen with Halberds holding their own, doing a really solid job of just tanking so much of the Ice Trolls. His Shaggoth kind of got caught out, which is something you really have to be careful of, especially with so much like mass AP or anti-large for the monsters, is he does really well anti-large, but he can very easily get overwhelmed. So Norska did a really good job of gooning that Shaggoth and taking it out. Unfortunately, yeah, Wulfric going down and the Fimir. The Fimir ended up out of position, so the Lords getting picked off here is what really, really hurt Papa in the end. But yeah, that is going to be that series. So Killerinu coming away with the dub, the 2-1 on Papa. So last series for the day is going to be Happy versus Killerinu. So we're going to be jumping into game 1 of that. Let's get started. Alright, so we're going to be seeing some High Elves versus Empire. Should be a very entertaining matchup. Seeing Volkmar, pretty common pick nowadays. And High Elves over here, we're going to be starting off with Killerinu. So his wide left contingent of cavalry, Alariel on horse. I'm seeing that he likes Alariel a lot. I mean, who doesn't? That Star of Avalorn's fantastic. Bunch of units of Silver Helms with shields supporting Illyrian Reaver archers, so lots of mobility here. Front line's going to consist of some spears, and we're going to have rangers supporting rear. Over here for Empire. Excuse me, I got the hiccups for some reason now. We're going to be having Volkmar on his pimp wagon with the Sigmar Sons and some flagellants, including the Tattersouls. A nice little pocket box of spears with some great sword support on the front line. 2 units of handgunners and 2 units of, an Empire Knight and Demigryph Knight. We support a mortar. So a fun little classic Empire on the hill formation with a very wide harassing cavalry contingent from the High Elves. Very curious to see how this is going to play out. The front line is likely going to go pretty well for the Empire here. They have the infantry to hold this. The mortar hits practically nothing, as usual. Sad face. But yeah, these handgunners, we're going to see how the handgunners get played, because this could be very big in determining the outcome of this game. If he's able to get really good value, or if Happy is, excuse me, able to get really good value out of the handgunners, this could be a really good setup for the Empire. It's going to be tough for the High Elves to get in here, but they do have their Illyrian Reaver archers. So if the handgunners get distracted and their skirmishers are able to start kind of whittling them down, that could be bad for the Empire. Some more mortar shots coming in, and now we have a pretty darn big blob. So a solid amount of damage on the spearmen done so far. And we're going to have Volkmar riding forward to provide a little bit of a line-breaking charge. So he's going to be bowling through some spears as well as the Rangers. Right off the bat, Shield of Thorns coming in, so they're going to be doing some work on the Tatter Souls without taking too much in return. And this other unit of Rangers getting into the flank. Handgunners getting a little perilously close to the edge of their formation. Gonna be looking a tid rough. He is doing some great work on the Illyrian Reaver archers, though. Tons of HP damage doing so far, but they are gonna have to fall back because Silver Helms are thirsty for that. So Silver Helm's gonna be running in, taking a Spirit Leech, trying to support this infantry engagement, but Demigryphs and Empire Knights gonna be running in, and they are very likely going to be doing a great job in this matchup. But Star of Aberlorn coming down. So Demigryph Knights taking a lot of damage here. But the High Elf Skirmishers are putting some work into these handgunners. Mortar firing into this blob of cavalry, which is not a bad call. It's got a high amount of weapon strength, so it can kill some models, which is going to kind of negate the effectiveness of that Star of Aberlorn. Front line over here going so-so. Volkmar helping hold up this pocket that was protected by the Shield of Thorns, and is now kind of turning that in his favor with the Tatter Souls and the Greatswords having that massive damage resist buff. Right side, the Rangers are doing very well against the Flagellants and Spearmen, with some Spearmen support of their own. Greatswords, though, in very good condition, which is going to be nice in the late game if they are having to do some chip damage on cavalry. So far, balance of power looking good for the Empire. Unfortunately, this mortar is going to be getting ganked by the Silver Helms, and another Spirit Leech going down on them, so they are going to be getting into them. A flank attack into the handgunners is going to be solid, but they do rout out the Silver Helms because of their low leadership. So the Amethyst Wizard and the Demigryph Knights in amongst the Rangers, but the Amethyst Wizard not doing well is going to be routed. So another charge coming in from the Silver Helms as that mortar was absolutely shattered. Alariel trying to come in and support. So this is a really nice pickup for the High Elves. Very important for them to take out the handguns. And the Rangers going to be doing okay and sustaining against the Demigryphs, just because they don't really have much armor and they have a lot of physical resistance. So Demigryph's going to be trying to chip away at them and do some work on the Silver Helms and Alariel, but both units of handguns and the Amethyst Wizard are routing. So that's a really nice pickup here. Illyrian Reaver Archers coming back from the far sides of the field with some more Silver Helms to try and do some more continual suppressive fire. They are going to be firing into the Tatter Souls to try and get these 41 models out of the game, which is going to be very good. You need to get these guys out. They do some great damage, they're super tanky, and they have a lot of models, so they can sponge up what's left of your infantry late game pretty handily. Spearmen trying to run the stopgap for the Silver Helms here that are continuing to charge in. Volkmar, though, is going to be a huge deciding factor. He is sitting at practically full HP. He's going to be continuing to charge around and do his work. Alariel and her goon squad of remaining Silver Helms on this side going to be pulling out of combat as the Greatswords run in. The Spearmen, though, also trying to flee, probably would just commit them at this point. Take advantage of your Shield of Thorns. They're not going to last too long, and you might as well try and get a little bit of damage out of them. But yeah, Spear's just coming in hot on them. So Alariel and this unit of Silver Helms could go for some charges on the Greatsword, but I think he's worried about Volkmar. Volkmar not too fast, but super tanky and can do some good damage. So the Silver Helms out on the edge of the map have removed the handgunner from play. These Empire Knights have really got to go. These Demigryphs have got to go. I would 100% start charging these handgunners as soon as I see them, because you need to get them gone as well. They have a ton of ammo left, and you do not want them in the fight. So these units that just ran out of ammo, yep, straight into the handguns. Remove them forever. But Alarielle and her Silverhelm is going to be charging into the Demigryph Knights. Not ideal. You're going to get some good damage done here, but you really need these Silverhelms for the late game. And if you're not careful, they are going to die super fast in prolonged combat here. Star of Averlorn trying to go down to keep these boys on the fight. And it is working. They're slowly losing models, though. There's a lot of enemies in this combat, so the Star are really struggling to keep up with that damage output. The Illyrian Reavers have taken out this handgun. Very good pickup. Oh no, and the big blobs. Oh, Volkmar. Volkmar, you fiend. So yeah, the Silverhelm still holding tight. Only lost one model in that fight and is back up to their HP value that they started at. But as you can see very quickly, they are starting to take some of that damage. And the Demigryphs are down. So the problem here is the Volkmar. Let's be real. The problem here is Volkmar. So it's not looking super great for the High Elves at the moment. Alarielle isn't going to do too well against Volkmar in base combat because of his magic resistance and her magic damage. So Volkmar's definitely going to be taking that fight to the bank. He does have his own magic damage, and Alarielle does not have magic resistance. So something to keep in mind there. Unfortunately, a lot of the Silverhelms ended up routed there, so Alarielle's kind of stuck alone in combat. Some of these Reaver Archers moving out to try and finish taking out those handguns, keep them off the battlefield. Really needs to bring these Reaver Archers back into the fight, but he's chasing off the Demigryph Knights, so it's just a case of he doesn't have enough units to do enough things with. And Alarielle is really, really struggling here with Volkmar just hounding her. So she's stuck in this blob of spears, and Volkmar just riding her ass. And fortunately, some of these Illyrians are going to be able to come in to lighten the load and get him out of there. So meanwhile, Alarielle ends up charging into another spear unit, which is not the best, but some of these spearmen are going to be trying to do some work. These great swords just not having it. And valiant defeat. Army losses hit. Alarielle cannot sustain that kind of combat. And yeah, the Empire wins game 1. So happy taking the dub. So game 2, we're looking at some Dark Elves and High Elves. So switching roles now, Happy has taken the High Elves. Very, very interesting. Killer over here rocking his Dark Elves, and we're going to start with him. Alright, so front line is going to consist of some Dread Spears, flanked by Black Ark Corsairs. Interesting. High armor, some reasonable stats for melee combat, maybe looking to take down some Rangers. Backline's going to have Blades of the Blood Queen, supported by Witch Elves and some more Black Arcs. And then he's going to have a little bit of a ground goon squad here in Morathi and 2 Knight Assassins. Very fun. These guys rocking poison and really high missile strength with some fizz resist and missile resist. They also do have the ability, if I can pull it up here, gimmicky thing, the Assassin's Trophy. So really good debuff, and he's got 2 of them. So he can go for a little bit of some Lord Snipes, possibly. High Elves over here are going to be rocking a front line of Massed Spears, supported by some Lothern Sea Guard. Sword Masters of Hoeth bringing up the center, 2 Archers, 2 units of Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, 2 units of Silverhelms, and a Flamespire Phoenix. We're going to be seeing Teclis on his horse here, who is going to be bringing Net, Flaming Sword of Ruin, and the fucking... I keep forgetting the name of it. Enfeebling Foe. Way out on the flank here, I forgot to mention Dark Elves rocking 3 Scourge Runner Chariots. So these boys just going to be running up the dunes, bringing up the flank, trying to get a good opportunistic attack. So Bolt Throwers, though, rocking their Scatter Shot, just going to be peppering these Witch Elves, which is a pretty solid target. The Witch Elves will do some really good work against a lot of the infantry in here. But yeah, the High Elves in a very defensive position, utilizing this terrain letting the Eagle Claws shoot over the hill. Lothern Seaguard now firing in on Marathi, who has taken a reasonable amount of damage. This is risky. This is something you got to look out for. So, Killer, if you're here, keep an eye on this. Don't charge your lords in first. Keep your lords in, like, the back. If you're making a group in your hotkeys, you can lock it so they move at the same speed and whatnot and stay bound together. But you got to keep an eye out when you're running these guys in, because there could be something to countercharge that. Because the Swordmasters very easily could have charged downhill and started doing some pretty gnarly work on some of these units with their really, really high stats on anti-infantry. And it looks like they're going to be coming in now. Oh. Techless bringing it. Oh, man. Look at that damage. Doing a lot of work on some of this infantry. Flamespire Phoenix going to be coming in to bring some support and go after Marathi. Very risky. Marathi not going to be doing too hot in this kind of prolonged fight with the Flamespire. But where's our Swordmasters? There they are. Swordmasters looking pretty good, picking up some solid kills, doing a lot of work against the Dread Spears. They are rampaging, but Blades of the Blood Queen now going to be coming in to support them against the Swordmasters, and they are going to be in a very good position here. Swordmasters already having taken a lot of damage, down a lot of models. It's a good pickup for the Blades. Left flank looking decent for the Dark Elves right now. Black Ark Corsairs doing great against the Spearmen and pushing through into the back lines. Lothern Seaguard not really having too much of a target opportunity here, with all of the infantry kind of just swamping in very close, as well as being right up on the terrain. So, not too many good angles unless they start firing into the Blades of the Blood Queen. But they are getting chewed up by some Dread Spears. So they're now tied up in combat. Scourge Runner Chariots trying to outrun some Silver Helms across the dunes. God, this game's so pretty. I love it. Very aesthetic. Yeah, Flamespire Phoenix having taken a lot of damage, having been down there in the fray for a little too long. Trying to bring up the rear charges on some Dread Spears and Black Arcs to salvage some of that Lothern Seaguard. Silver Helm's not doing too great. Techless trying to stick to the rear and stay out of trouble here with the Canite Assassins and Marathi just gooning up the center. So yeah, Dark Elves doing really well here. Their infantry manages to win the line engagement, and I believe Happy hits with the concession. So that is going to be the dub for Killer. Sounds good, Taco. Catch you later. Alright, so final game, Killer Renu versus Happy Puppy. We are going to be seeing some vampire counts and Tomb Kings. I'm noticing Killer has, in almost every single match I've seen him play, has 3. Or like the HQs and Lords. Very interesting. It's a trend. Alright, so for the vampire counts, we're going to have the Lamian Vampire Lord on the Dragoon here. And we're going to be rocking some summons, some invocations, and also the Pestilent Breath from the Dragon. Bring in the Pendulum as well. We're going to have a Terrorgeist supporting the Aerial Squad. And we're going to have the Necromancer on the cart. And then we're going to have a Ground White King to provide some infantry support with a high weapon durability a White King provides. Frontline going to consist of a whole bundle of zombies, and they are supported by some Graveguard with great weapons in the back line, as well as the Stearnsmen. Bargulf bringing up some support for the ground. So I like it. You got some monster support in the air, some monster support on the ground, a nice tanky support HQ, and then you're going to have squads. Front line for the Tomb Kings here for Happy Puppy going to be Skeleton Warriors supported by Tomb Guard, one of them being the Kepler Guard. We are going to have a Casket of Souls raining some wonderful necromantic holy fire down on the Tomb Kings as they advance. In the flanks, King Nakesh's Scorpion Legion, as well as a Skeleton Spearman. 2 Necropolis Knights, as well as High Queen Khalida on her Necropolis thing as well. Her fucking snake construct, that's super dank. I love Tomb Kings. They're so cool. And then the Eyes of the Desert Sepulchral Stalkers, providing some poison magic missile support from the back. Alright, ball rolling here. We're going to see the Lamian Vampire Lord and the Terrorgeist spreading out to provide a little bit of an enveloping approach. So I would presume that he is going to kind of shoot to get some angled breath attacks on some of these frontline units. I would probably go for the Kepler Guard as well as the Tomb Guard, since there's practically nothing to oppose you aside from the Eyes of the Desert. You're going to have a great opportunity to get full advantage of your breath attacks. I don't know. Skeleton Warriors probably going to melt relatively quickly, but the Sternsmen are taking some reasonable chip damage. You could, in theory, park right over the casket and get a really good breath attack damage on it, but the Eyes of the Desert are sitting there, so I mean, really got to decide if you're willing to take the damage right off the bat. I mean, you could. You do have the ability to heal, so it might not be the worst. Oh, nope. Tried a cheeky pendulum. Did not quite work. It's always risky. There's always the temptation when you're in the initial, like, opening engagements of a battle, and you're just kind of closing the gap, and your caster has, like, free reign to close in. You're just like, man, these juicy lions. But it's always risky because you never know if your opponent is paying enough attention. See, like that, your breath attack goes in and just completely misses it because there's nothing going on right now. Like, they're just sitting here watching you. So they're waiting for you to do something. So sometimes it's really cool when you catch one of these and you manage to get some really, really high damage in. But other times, not so lucky, and you end up losing some really good value of offense from your bound abilities. Spells. Ooh, Necromancer taking a solid chunk of damage off of the Lich Priest of Light. Man. Vargulf is, oh lord, he coming. Oh lord, he coming. Alright, so getting the initial charge. And on the side, the zombies are going to be kind of wrapping like an envelopment on the Skeleton Warriors here, and the Grave Guard are going to be trying to push through as the zombies do their work. Vargulf getting in hot and heavy on High Queen Khalida, but the Eyes of the Sepulchral, or Eyes of the Desert, excuse me, doing a lot of damage. Wow, Vargulf taking some serious focus fire. Meanwhile, Lamian Lord and the Terrorgeist trying to get into the back line here. A summon on the casket and the Eyes of the Desert. Very nice. Lich Priest kind of left unattended at the moment. There is the potential to get a snipe in on this, but capitalizing going in here. So the front line looking decent for the vampire counts right now. The Tomb King's right flank has been brought down. The Necromancer's doing okay at the moment. Vargulf, though, not looking great, taking a ton of damage from the Eyes of the Desert, who have been focusing him non-stop. So he's going to be shifting over to try and go after the Lich Priest, which is an excellent target for him. He's going to be doing some really good work. Fortunately, he is critical binding at the moment. Fortunately, magic resistance as well. Man, this is just going to be a hell of a grind. So in the back line, the Tomb King's center formation has been compromised. The Vargulf is likely going to be getting the kill here. Oh no, he ended up veering off against some of these Tomb Guard, but he's at 0 armor, and High Queen Khalida is going to absolutely work him. Another shot going off from the Lich Priest, finishing off the Vargulf, which is a great pickup for the Tomb Kings. Unfortunately, Casket of Souls tied down in zombies at the moment, which isn't necessarily horrible. If you have your guard on, you can continue to fire, but he is going to be taking some attrition damage from our little flesh bag friends there. Eyes of the Desert continuing to sit back and do their harassing damage. Terrorgeist doing really well, though. Terrorgeists are pretty much untouched at the moment. The Necropolis Knights are reasonably low on damage, having gone into the infantry fray, and they're trying to fall back under the support of the Eyes of the Desert to keep High Queen Khalida safe. This Lich Priest, though, super isolated. Like, I keep looking at him, super isolated. You could probably get a charge down with the Terrorgeist and then get out of there pretty quickly. The Necropolis Knights aren't that fast. But he is going to go in and try and finish off the Casket of Souls instead, which is not a bad call. Keeping his infantry alive is going to help him in the long run when trying to sponge up the Necro Knights. But the Knights coming in to try and get a little bit of an envelopment on these Terrorgeists here. Now High Queen Khalida coming in. Eyes of the Desert trying to reorient so they can get their focus fire. And it's not looking too bad right now. The Lamian Lord not taking too much damage just yet, but in a precarious position. So if he's not careful and he isn't able to navigate these guys out, they could be in a really rough spot. But it looks like he is going to kind of bully his way out of there. Terrorgeist decides to start moonwalking instead. And yeah, they are going to get away. Looks like they are free and clear. So meanwhile, some zombies tying up some more of the Necro Knights. Some more infantry dueling going on down here on the ground. Necro Knights trying to charge in, but the White King helping to sustain this frontline engagement. Nice breath attack coming in on the Knights from the Lamian Lord. They're going to continue to run rampant and do their rear charges. This pocket of Skeleton Warriors and Spears doing decent. Khalida trying to get in there and save the Lich Priest, and the Goon Squad is committing fully from both sides. The Terrorgeist taking a ton of leadership damage from being surrounded as well as being fired at. But it looks like Khalida is not going to be doing hot here. Seduction going down for the attack and speed debuff to try and keep her in the fight. And manages to sneak away with 421 HP. While the Terrorgeists are stuck in this blob. So, it looks like the Lamian Lord is going to be trying to go after the Lich Priest, who is now also hit with Seduction. Khalida decides to go back into the fight, risking it for the biscuit. Happy deciding here that the AP damage is needed, or these Terrorgeists are never going to get brought down, which is entirely true and reasonable. But man, if Khalida goes down, that's pretty much game over, because this Lich Priest is not going to be holding out for very long alone. Eyes of the Desert now out of ammo, attempting to get in there. A lot of the Vampire Count infantry has been cleaned up, so their zombies are in the back, but they do crumble out. Some Sternsmen trying to take out the Kingdom Kesha Scorpion Legion. And this is just a little attrition grind going on here. Constant fight. Lich Priest not doing too hot, sitting at 700 HP. And yeah, it looks like Tomb Kings are about to go down. They lost their Lord. They are losing the Lich Priest. And Lich Priest is down. So that is going to be that. The rest of the army is going to crumble out, and the Goon Squad of the White King and the Lamian Lord survive to harass the armies of the living. Very interesting match. Some good work by the Sternsmen, rocking 146 kills. A lot of the infantry here picking up reasonable amount of kills fighting zombies and whatnot. Some great work from Happy Puppy rocking the Necro Knights and the Eyes of the Desert. There was some good play trying to isolate these Terrorgeists. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the speed and the burst damage to bring them down fast enough. Khalida getting focused and taken out was really rough, and the Lich Priest just couldn't really hold out for very long. So, good game. Great work, Killerinu. Congratulations on the second win. And that is going to be it for today. So, every Friday morning, I'm going to try and get at least 2, probably 3 of these best of 3s cast. Everyone in the tournament is sending me their matches, so we're going to try and get some more of this content pushed out. Unfortunately, with my work schedule, I'm not able to cast all of them live, which is a real bummer. That would be an absolute blast, but once these get in, we'll be getting them out on Friday mornings. So, absolutely, Killerinu, well played. Try to protect the Lords a tidbit. But other than that, fantastic work, man. Did a great job. Some solid utilization of your assets. So with that, I will catch you guys next time. Have a good one.